We're recording. Hello and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I am so honored to be joined by my friend and colleague, Jeannie Blody.
Hello. Happy
Thanks
to
for
be here.
jumping on with me, especially a little last minute. You are
Always
a
a
rock star.
pleasure. I'm a definite fly by the seat of your pants gal, so that makes it all the more exciting.
It does. It does. So last week I mentioned that I was taking the Wellness Wednesday videos in a little different direction so that you could hear some additional education and inspiration from others that are not just me, who have wonderful tools and information to share. And this month I'm focusing on emotional well-being, especially emotional well-being during uncertain times, because I feel like that is the topic of the month, the year. And so I'm excited that Jeannie is here. Jeannie is a functional medicine certified health coach, and she's my go-to gal for all things food. So Jeannie, first, could you just tell everybody what exactly functional medicine is? Like, why do we need it?
Well, functional medicine is the study of, ultimately, it differs from conventional medicine because those trained in functional are looking for root causes. They're helping their patients, and in my case, clients, look to the whole body, all the pillars of health that would have an impact on their symptoms, not just the symptoms and how to, slap a Band-Aid on it and make it go away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's really the whole crux, isn't it? Getting to the root cause, because
it's a whole systems approach to wellness, exactly, as opposed to just the single symptom. And
yeah. I love that. And I feel that that's where we need to be going for true whole holistic health, both physical and emotional and spiritual. So now, I come from a long time of working in fitness, and I've always thought about food for physical health, for strength, for energy. So tell me about food for emotional health. I don't know that people connect the dots necessarily between what they put in their mouth and what their mood is like.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of different, directions you could come from. So there's the gut-brain connection, because, I don't know, I don't want to assume that anyone watching this knows that, 80 or more % of your brain chemical, your mood, the serotonin, the GABA, and the other things that affect your mood in your brain are so heavily affected by your gut health. And then there's gut health in general, how it has such a huge impact on the inflammation, in the systemic inflammation in your whole body that's related to pain and mood, also mood and energy, fatigue, all those other things that are important, mitochondrial health. So, you need to eat the right foods to stay out of pain, and being in pain can also affect your mood. So that's where I was going with that. So there's like this sort of cascade effect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to help people to understand the value of eliminating the inflammatory foods that can affect their mood and those other symptoms ultimately, right, and bringing in the healthier foods that will actually dispel the things like anxiety and depression, and ultimately make you healthier, and probably you'll feel physically better as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. I just started reading this book recently. I think I mentioned it to you, The Healthy Deviant, and I'm only about 75 pages in now, but one of the things she talks about in there is what a small percentage of the world is healthy and happy, which is really sad. And I just feel like that you're definitely on a mission to help shift that, just because there are a lot of people that don't know what it feels like to feel good, especially right now with all the uncertain stressors going on.
Exactly. And the thing is, one of the important facets of this whole pandemic is that they're noting that 88% of our population globally is in some sort of metabolic dysfunction, meaning there is an underlying medical condition that they may or may not even know about, that will have an impact on how they, what their moods, their physical condition, and how they recover from different illnesses.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, I think the long-term effects of what's happening, we just can't even wrap our mind around right now, and particularly in the mental wellness and the physical wellness area.
That's true. And, so right now, I'm trying to focus on helping people to make good choices while we're home, because for a period of time, and I'm going to make reference to social media because that's really how a lot of us are staying connected, is it's slowing down a little bit, but for a while, all we saw was the meals people were putting on their table. And, for a lot of us, there's the psychology of eating too. And we equate food with joy and feeding our tribe and, the warm, fuzzy memories and all that.
Sure.
But then you have to take a step back and go, mom's, macaroni casserole, macaroni and cheese casserole or whatever. And, that those delicious desserts that we had after were wonderful and they do make me happy, but are they for my greater good? Are they going to give me the defenses I need to protect my body and my mood? Mm-hmm. Because that stress that's happening here, you're not just in a bad mood. That's having a very profound effect on that metabolic number that I mentioned earlier, that 88% of us have metabolic dysfunction. Well, your metabolic dysfunction may be caused by your emotions. The stress might be the only thing that's going wrong with you. Right. And the stress might be caused by what you're eating. So I hope that's not getting to,
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So what are some foods that we might be eating that are currently not serving us well in terms of our emotional health? Foods that might be causing us a little extra anxiety or depression or overwhelm?
So that's a great question. And some people are really not aware of this and are really surprised by this. And truthfully, 10 years ago, Jeannie of Christmas past would have been totally shocked by this because I lived my life. Most of us did. Fat's bad, sugar's good, because it's not contributing to fat. And low calorie, even better, but if it's sweet, it's still good, right? Absolutely not. So sugar is really our number one offender, but then there's these other foods that we all love, and they're turning to sugar as they're, going through the digestive process, and so that has that exact same effect on the gut. And, that's probably a call for another day because there's so many details, but that is going to very much affect, like I said earlier, how, our serotonin is so impacted by our gut health. So that sugar or that dairy or gluten is going to have that negative effect on the microbiome in your gut, which is going to, have a profoundly negative effect on your mood. Or maybe it's going to feel like a hangover. Maybe it's going to feel like you have no energy, but then you're in a bad mood because you can't figure out why you feel so slumpy. So it's not always just, I'm in a bad mood. It's, blah, and I can't figure out why. But if you track it back to 24, 36, 48, even 72 hours, or sadly in some people even longer, to what you ate, and you go, oh, wow. And, not to get too detailed, but depending on your motility and how often you're eliminating will have an impact on when you start to feel that effect. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And then another thing that, I know that this whole conversation stems from an article that I shared from a doctor that I respect and value and follow, Dr. Kelly Brogan. She is a functional psychiatrist who's very, very rooted in food as medicine, not just for emotional, but for physical health as well. And another thing that she talks about is GMOs, which is genetically modified organisms. And that's like just taking another piece that a lot of people maybe are like, yeah, that's just too much for me. But just to throw it in there for anybody that is in that space of awareness, if you are already going, yeah, but I'm doing everything right, I'm hardly having any sugar, you want to read labels and take a look. And if you see that it says, this contains genetically modified organisms or GMOs, or portions of this are genetically modified, and I have, excuse me, I have been seeing that on some labels, it will matter. over time, those little tiny things add up and they will matter. So if you can pull them out now, it's never a bad idea. And some really well-known genetically modified foods are corn, anything soy, definitely wheat, which, so it's taking you back to the gluten. So,
Right.
just to kind of plant some seeds now for you to start to think about if you're feeling bad consistently and you can't figure out why.
So if somebody right now is feeling blah, like you said, and I hear that from a lot of people, or they're feeling like they can't focus, or they're low energy, or they're feeling anxious, they could take a look at what they have been eating the last days, and that may give them some clues.
Definitely. And to take it a step further, and you probably already have a list of questions, so I don't want to like blow that, but like maybe in place of those things that you're taking out, instead of having rice under your stir fry because you think you're doing everything great, maybe pull out that grain and throw in some riced cauliflower,
Yes.
even,
You can make everything with cauliflower now.
yes, no kidding. I mean, there's mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes, and potatoes aren't, a villain, but over time that kind of carb buildup, if you're eating them every day, it's not the greatest either.
Right, right. So what kind of foods could I have always, in my working with people in general, whether it's health or business, I always talk about what you can add in, because people get a little worried and freaked out if you want them to eliminate too many things. So I always start with like, what can you add in? Like, I love that you have said add in the cauliflower. What are foods that we can be adding in so that they are mood boosting foods?
Got it. That's a great question. And anything at all that's green is great, except a green lollipop. But like, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, I mean, when I said, all right, I'm going to hop into the Zoom, I had to run and get my celery juice and by the way, I typically make it myself, but on certain days I do try to keep a couple bottles of this. They carry it in Trader Joe's. And it's cold pressed celery juice. I feel myself singing when I eat more fruits and vegetables, period. I do. I feel like it helps my body. I definitely have less physical discomfort. I definitely have more energy. So we want to, and this is crazy, if I were to ask anybody here seeing this, live or later, how many servings of fruits or let's stick with vegetables first, and then, fruits are nice and an add-on, but they're not equal in terms of, their impact.
Yes.
How many servings of vegetables are you having a day? The food pyramid, I think, says, strive for 5 or something. You want,
I
9.
thought it was more than that. I was gonna say, I thought the food pyramid said like 9 or something.
Well, it should be 9 to 13. And on any given day, I mean, if I have 5 or 6 or 7, and you don't need to eat a pot of anything, but a half a cup of a smaller vegetable like broccoli or spinach or if it's cooked, leafy greens are, a cup. But, it's easy to do. A salad, a normal sized salad is going to be, 2 cups of greens.
Right, right.
So
I have to say spinach. I add spinach into everything. And I can actually saute almost an entire container of spinach and it shrinks down. I could eat it all at one.
I feel the same. I love that. And the other thing is lots of color. Eat the rainbow. You don't have to throw in a whole serving of carrots, but if you can throw in a couple of chopped carrots or shredded carrots and some radishes and some beets and a little bit of this and that, your body needs all that color. If your diet is mostly brown, well, you're going to feel blah.
If your diet is beige, you're going to feel beige, right?
If you're eating the rainbow, you're going to feel like a rainbow.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Can we quote you on that?
Absolutely.
You need like t-shirts and bumper stickers made with that. If you're eating the rainbow, you're going to feel like a rainbow. I love it.
It's true.
So I know, so you and I met Wayne loves spinach, but he's also asking about green M&Ms, I see in the comments.
Oh, Wayne. That doesn't surprise me, Wayne. I love a green M&M as a special treat, but if you have one, you have to eat a green apple too.
That's good. Yeah, that's why I always say, like, add it to something that you're doing already.
And that's absolutely true. If someone in my home is like, oh, where are the cookies? I'll be like, you know what? Before you have the cookie, why don't you have a piece of fruit and then have the cookie? Don't deprive yourself. You know, don't eat 5 cookies. Have the cookie, but also have a serving of fruit or vegetable.
Yeah, that's very much in my mindset as well. So you and I first met and connected and ultimately became good friends over essential oils and our love of essential oils and our essential oil teams. So I always like to incorporate an oil in any topic on Wellness Wednesday. And so what would be a good oil for cravings? Because right now I know when people are home, you can get those cravings and you start to like, hey, I need some pretzels or something, or salty or sweet. Do you use essential oils for cravings, and what would you recommend?
I personally do. And I've tried lots. You know, I have every oil under the rainbow, under my rainbow. So, but my oil of choice for that is fennel. And you have to have a deep love of black licorice for fennel but I love it. I always loved it. I love the smell. I love the taste. I'll put a drop on the back of my hand and just lick it, or put it right on my tongue, not the whole bottle, but I'll stick my tongue out and I'll drop it on there. I won't bore you. Or you could put a drop in water. That satisfies that taste for me. But not everybody loves black licorice. Maybe they're going to grab something different. Like we spoke about, there's cinnamon, which has a wonderful impact on glucose levels. So
yeah.
you could
I'm not
go
a black
ahead.
licorice fan. I'm not a fan of the black licorice. So if I don't like that taste, would you recommend putting it a couple of drops in a gel cap?
Sure, you could do that. Because it's still, but the question is, when you put it in the gel cap, you're not getting a taste in your mouth.
Right. I don't like that taste.
You may want to just take a minute and, maybe it's a citrus oil for you, or maybe it is cinnamon. Cinnamon is known as a hot oil, so you have to be aware and be prepared. You can dilute it a little bit with a little olive oil or even coconut oil, even the hard coconut oil that you're going to cook with, and then put it in your mouth. And if you like, I love cinnamon too. So maybe that's going to satisfy your need for a cookie,
Right.
And there's also the Metabolic Blend, which is slim. It's called Slim and Sassy. Not a super sexy name rather, but lots of people just drink that in their water, or grapefruit in their water, or lemon or lime or any citrus. And that is a gentle detoxifying experience that will help to support, your gut, and maybe satisfy a craving, because it's kind of got a little bit of flavor in your water, or maybe make it a seltzer. So it feels like a seltzer drink. Put it in a beautiful, cup. Like if it's after dinner, put it in a wine glass and make it a special treat for yourself.
I've got green mandarin in my water bottle.
I absolutely love green mandarin. I wear it. I drink it
every day. It just, I don't know. It's great. And I see in the comments, Wayne is mentioning black pepper, cinnamon, and peppermint, also good for cravings. I guess if it, whatever
I love a peppermint beadlet, and that's another, either a drop of peppermint or just a peppermint beadlet, which is like a quarter to a half of a drop. And if the angels above could hear my cry for spearmint beadlets, I would be so happy, wherever you are. But I keep the beadlets with me at all times. And like if I'm driving and just feeling that like staleness and just a little like stressed or whatever, I don't just sniff my aromatherapy bracelet with Adaptive on it, by the way. But I'll also grab a peppermint beadlet, because it gives me a little focus, a little energy. It's an uplift, and it satisfies that taste. You want something. You don't need to bring a bag of pretzels or nuts in the car with you. You can just take a beadlet.
Yeah. And Tracy, hi Tracy, is tuning in and saying she loves to do the Slim and Sassy or On Guard in her water, and she switches it up. So that's
which
great.
Are both fantastic.
Yeah.
And by the way, the ones that we just talked about, Slim and Sassy, On Guard, or cinnamon, are so strong for immunity. So right now, any of those is a great choice.
We need to boost our immune systems right now. So as far as to kind of wrap it up, as far as a great tip to use food to support our emotional well-being is to, when you're feeling those blah emotions, take a look at what you've been eating and then add in some colors from the rainbow. Even if you're going to go for that cookie eventually, add in the fruit first, or whatever kind of greens first, and just get that rainbow cranking, and or a drop of essential oil to curb the craving. Would you say
Absolutely.
That sums it up?
Absolutely. And my only tip for anyone that really, really wants to like dig in is find a really high quality supplement that is going to fill your nutritional gaps, add in a digestive enzyme and a probiotic, make sure you have a really high quality omega, and if you've got some antioxidants, you're good to go. I know that doTERRA has Lifelong Vitality, Terrazyme, PB Assist, you know, that set right there, that healthy habits set, it's really going to set you up for success physically and emotionally.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, and I think we should do a whole video on just that.
I'm there, baby. I'm going to bring my rainbow.
I love it. I love it. So for people who want to find you to look into functional medicine health coaching, where do people find you?
Well, I have a website. It's called essentiallysure.com. And I also have a Facebook page called Essentially Sure. So you can find me in either one of those places. And I'm also on the Institute for Functional Medicine's Find a Coach. Yeah, so, or FMC, it's FMCA, which is Functional Medicine Coaching Academy, Find a Coach. I'm listed there. And one of my specialties is gut health.
I love it. Well, and you can contact either Jeannie at those places or me at interplayhealth.com or the Radiant Life Facebook group, which you might be watching this in, but we will have the recording available to share in all of our groups and all of our platforms. So if you are watching the replay, thank you for watching it. And thank you, Jeannie, for being here. Next week, we have the Jedi of Calm, Kathleen Booker, who's going to talk to us about breath work for emotional well-being. So stay tuned. If you're in this Radiant Life group right now, we will be having more tips and tricks and ideas on supporting our emotional well-being, especially during uncertain times. Thank you so much, my friend, for jumping in here. I truly, truly appreciate you.
I feel the same way about you. Thanks for having me. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day, everybody.